You see, I have learned from my own experience and from hearing other people's experiences from being in HR. People come to you with concerns or issues or problems. Rarely do they come to you with how great things are going. So in HR, if they're coming to you, it's usually an issue, a problem, or a concern that they may have. And a lot of times people are burnt out. Let me just say, people are burnt out at work. They're tired. They're frustrated. They're overwhelmed. They're all these things at work. And I too was one of those people at one point. And it was like, well, what can I do? Because sometimes the work is the work. No matter what industry you're in, you're probably doing something that you don't, why are we doing this? To me, this doesn't make sense. We should be doing, but sometimes it's just the work. And in those times, it's like, I don't know what I can do or say or incorporate that could make it any better, because it's the work. And I felt helpless for myself. I felt helpless for people who were coming asking me these things, until I had an aha moment. And my aha moment was that I talk about, self-care, morning routines, and get your journaling in and get your exercise in before you start work. But when you get to work, what were you doing? Like, Belinda, what were you doing for your own self-care? And that's when I looked around. I was like, doesn't seem like anybody is doing anything at work while they're actually at work on the clock for their self-care. And that's why I came up with talking about self-care at work, things that we can do, things that we need to start, things to pour into ourselves while we're actually at work, a lot of times when we need it the most. This video is sponsored by my Self-Care at Work digital journal. So let me ask you something, and it relates to self-care at work. When was the last time you said yes to something at work, but your body said no? Let me ask you, when was the last time that you said yes to something at work, but your body said no? Some people may be thinking, oh, Monday. Somebody may be saying yesterday, right? That you said yes, I can do this, I can take this on, but your body was like, no. And if you ever stayed late at work, skipped lunch, and I talk about that all the time here, said, sure, I'll take care of it, while holding in a, today's session, this one is for you, because we're talking about boundaries. That's right, boundaries, what they are, why they matter, and how they are not selfish, but essential self-care. So grab your coffee, your tea, your water, whatever you need, and we're going to get started. And I want to start with, what are boundaries? Boundaries are the personal limits that we set to protect our time, our energy, and our emotional well-being. But when it comes to the workplace, boundaries often get fuzzy, right? They get fuzzy because we're taught to be a team player. And that being a team player means that we are available all the time. That's what we're taught. That being professional means saying yes, even when we're at capacity. That's what we're taught. That's what we've practiced, some of us, our entire career. But the truth is that burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's boundary issues. Boundaries, they say, this is what I can give, and this is what I need to function at my best. And if you don't set them, if you don't set boundaries, guess what? Someone else is going to set them for you. And I promise you, they won't set them in your favor. Now, here are some red flags as it comes to boundaries. So think about that. Think about how often do you say yes when you want to say no? How often have you checked your email in bed and on weekends? That you avoid conflict even if it means overworking yourself. If you feel resentful after helping others, or you feel anxious on Sunday nights. How many of those did you check off? No judgment. There's no judgment if you checked one off or two or three or all of them. There's no judgment here because we've all been there. We've been there. I've said yes more times than I can count when I want to say no. I check emails in bed. I check emails on the weekends. I've checked emails on vacation. I have overworked to avoid conflict. I have been resentful after helping people sometimes. And I've felt anxious on Sunday nights. Oh, we've been there. We've all been there. All red flags, right? But here's the thing. We often think self-care means sleeping in or spa days. And yes, those are nice. But real self-care happens in the everyday choices we make to protect our mental and emotional bandwidth. Our everyday choices. Setting boundaries is saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace. Here's some examples that are actually self-care. I don't respond to emails after 6 p.m. I take a real lunch break away from my computer. I'm not available for meetings during my first hour at work. I need 24 hours to respond thoughtfully to your request. Those are boundaries. They aren't selfish. They're strategic, and they allow you to work from a place of fullness, not depletion. I mean, how many of us have pushed through? We've pushed through and we didn't feel well, whether it was physically or emotionally, we just pushed through. When you think about that, how good do you think that work that you pushed through actually was? Not our best. We've probably done a lot better. When you're depleted, you're working on fumes. You're not putting out good work. You may think you're killing the game. You're exhausted, but you may think you're killing the game, and you're not. You're doing yourself a disservice. I'm going to talk about 5 actionable steps, 5 boundaries that we can start practicing this week. We can start practicing today. 5 things that we can start practicing. And I want you to hear these 5 things. I would like for you to incorporate at least one of these things, if not all of these things today. Starting today, at least one, but by the end of the week, have advanced to 2 or 3 or maybe even all 5. All right. The first one, our calendar control. Block time on your calendar for focused work. We probably already do that. I got my meetings on there, Blender. Beautiful. On your calendar, mark your breaks. How many people got their breaks actually listed on their calendar? On your calendar, mark time for deep breathing. I'm going to say it again. On your calendar, mark out time for focus work, which we all already do. You have your meetings. You have this is the time I'm going to work on this project. We probably already have that on our calendars. Do you have your breaks marked out on your calendar? How many people have that? Hopefully, if you've been watching this channel, you do. But if this is your first time, we're supposed to put our breaks that we're going to take on our calendar. Now, how many people have put deep breathing, have a time slot to do some deep breathing on your calendar? And you may say, well, it's not on my calendar, but it's on my to-do list. Wonderful. But if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Because we put important things on our calendar. You think about it. On your calendar, you put things that you don't want to forget, that you want to keep up with. And if those things aren't on your calendar, then they don't exist. If I get around to, I'll take a break. If I get around to deep breathing, I'll do deep breathing. You don't say that about your work. You don't say, if I get around to it, I'll work on this project. No, your project time is on your calendar because it's important. Breaks are important. And I'm not saying you got to mark out 30 minutes every hour for a break, but you can mark out 5 minutes at the beginning of the hour or at the end of the hour for a break, for a deep breathing moment, to drink water, to stand up and stretch. That's the first one. The second one, the power of not yet, right? You don't always have to say no. You know, we hear that. No is a sentence, a full sentence, a complete sentence. No is your power. But sometimes it's hard to say no, right? It is. Sometimes it's hard to say no. Then try not yet. Because you don't always have to say no. Not yet. I can't handle that right now. I love to support this. Can I get to you tomorrow afternoon? So not right now when they come, but tomorrow afternoon I can help you, or not yet. Or if sometimes it feels better to be able to say that. So the power of not yet. The third one, micro breaks. Every 90 minutes, step away. To stretch, to breathe, to look out the window. Give yourself permission to that. Every 90 minutes. A lot of times, I know. I've seen people do it. I work with people who do it, they are focused on their task and they want to get it done. They're on momentum and they've been typing and working and typing and working, and 2 hours have gone by and 2.5 hours have gone by, and they've never gotten up because they got to get things done. They've never gotten up to stretch. They haven't even went to the bathroom. They hadn't had a sip of water because they've been going. And sometimes our work requires that. It does. Sometimes it does. But not every day. Every day our work doesn't require that. Every day it doesn't. At least sometime in the day, you need to be able to stretch, breathe, and look out the window, because those little micro breaks, those little bitty breaks, actually gives you more energy to finish the day and not be depleted at the end of the day. To finish the day at an even level instead of being depleted, all your energy gone because you're hunched over, you're typing, you're focused, your face is, your face gets tight when you're focused on something. Your face is tightened up. You got a headache because you haven't drunk any water, so you're dehydrated. I mean, the list goes on and on. Micro breaks are important. We put them in our calendar. The fourth thing, respecting your end time, right? If your workday ends at 5, let it end at 5. The work's still going to be there, but your peace might not. A lot of times, we're focused on our work and our workday ends at 5 or 5:30 or 6. Some people are really good at when the time hits their time, they're done. And some people not so much. Some people keep going, right? Because they want to finish this. They're on a roll. I like that. We're on a roll. We can push through and we can complete this. And again, sometimes your work requires that, but not every day. Every day your work doesn't require you to push through all the time. It doesn't. And you need to set the stage, the intention of when my work day ends at whatever time it is. That's it. I'm done. Now, to not feel guilty, because a lot of times we work past 5 because during the day we've goofed off. We know we've done things. We wasn't always working. We were doing other things. And so to make up for my time, I've worked over. So I kind of get that. But to be able to end at 5 guilt-free, then the time that you're actually getting paid to work, then work that time. So that at 5 or 6 or whatever time your end time is, you can stop and feel confident. I've done all I can do today. I've put my time in. And I like to say they got their money's worth, and you can go about your day. Because the work's still going to be there, believe it or not. You can get through your to-do list, and I promise you, when you look up, there's another set of tasks ready to take those place. So there's never an end to any of our work. It's going to be there the next day. You have to be able to let it go at the end of the day. The 5th thing, protect your emotional space. Not every office conflict is yours to solve. Not everyone. Every office conflict is not yours to solve. Learn to say, I hear you. That sounds like something to bring to our manager, right? I hear you. Maybe such and such is a better person to be able to solve that for you. Now, if you're in HR, most of the time, the conflict is yours to solve. If you're the owner of the company, most of the time, the conflict is yours to solve. But if you're not any of those things, then every office conflict is not yours. You do not have to take on every cause. Not everyone. You can let somebody else hold the flag for that. Learn to say, I hear you. That sounds like something we bring to our manager. You know, a quote that we've heard many times is, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Every time you reinforce your boundaries, you're teaching your team, your boss, your clients, and yourself that you matter. You're teaching them every time you reinforce your boundaries. You're teaching your team, your supervisor, your clients, and most importantly, yourself that you matter. You are allowed to be ambitious and have boundaries. You are allowed to want to rest and results. That's not unprofessional. That's human. All right, y'all, before I go, I just want to say, I hope you enjoyed this Self-Care at Work Live that we talked about boundaries. I want you to do one of the 2 things, if not both. 1, pick one boundary that you're going to practice this week, that you're going to practice today. I want you to write it down. I want you to say it out loud. The boundary out of those 5 boundaries, which were calendar control, the power of not yet, micro breaks, respecting your time, or protecting your emotional space. Pick one of those that you're going to do today. Write it down and say it out loud. This is the boundary that I'm going to start using today. The second thing, I want you to share this live with a coworker who's doing too much. Let's normalize balance. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and self-respect is the highest form of self-care. Remember, self-care at work is important because you matter. I'm Belinda Harris, and I'll see you at the next video.